I'm so excited. I am going to be speaking with Robert Schwartz. Thank you for coming on and sharing your story about the distant healing you had with me. Now, this was private. And when I say private and distance, means I'm in Arizona and you're in Colorado. And what's fascinating with this too is Robert himself is a healer. I say that you're a healer because your books, touch people and heal people in so many ways. And he's a famous author of Your Soul's Plan, and he has two other great books too. So I'll put that down in the link below for others to follow along with his website, because you're just you're just a gift to the world, is what I feel.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And I feel the same way about you.
When you said those words to me, I got chills. I get them right now because it coming from someone like you that is in this field and having a session with me, and we've never met before. And now this is the first time we're speaking now about the session or even meeting each other in person. It's just remarkable to hear from people in our genre, right? Um, and so I'm excited for you to share. So when the healing was taking place, so when I'm doing a healing session, I'm in Arizona and you are in Colorado, and we're not talking. You're present in your sacred space and I'm in mine. Did you feel anything at that time when that was actually taking place?
I did not. And I should probably preface that by saying I don't feel in general that I'm particularly sensitive to non-physical energies. But it was when I listened to the recording after you sent it, then I definitely felt the energy coming through.
It started activating at that time for you. So everybody's different. And that's what I want everybody to know about this. There is no right or wrong way to receive energy. So some people like to rest and see what they're going to feel on their end. Some people will feel extreme things and the same things I'm feeling at the same time. And some feel nothing at all. That's okay. So when you actually listen to it, that's when it kind of ignited and you were feeling the energy. Can you describe anything that happened to you when you were listening?
Well, it's very hard to put into words. And I say that as an author, I'm supposed to be good with words. But there are certain phenomenon that, language is actually really quite limited, and it doesn't do an adequate job of describing a number of different things, one of which would be non-physical energies. What happened when I was listening to the recording is that at first I just felt very, very peaceful. It was quite soothing, very relaxing. This feeling of peace washed over me. And then I started to feel quite sleepy. And what's interesting about that is that I was not feeling at all tired or sleepy before I started to listen to the recording. And so I attribute that feeling of sleepiness to this deep relaxation that took place as I listened to it. I felt that there was divine healing energy in your voice, that you were transmitting that kind of energy to me through your voice. The distance itself did not matter. As you know, distance is not a factor in long distance healing. And now there is time. So I got very sleepy, and I was actually drifting in and out of being awake and being asleep. And for me, that was a confirmation that the healing energy was coming through and was being received.
That's a really important factor, because during the session, I say spiritual surgeons are coming in. You might get administered medicine, anesthesia, just to relax you, to sedate you. And it could be just the white light of energy and love that goes in and embraces you and just makes you feel calm and centered and just relaxed to receive. So there's a lot of things that happen in the session, especially for yours. And when words come through for you, like you were taken on a spiritual journey and you had this conversation with what I say is a high divine, high source. And the words that come through are meant just for you, and they're profound, they're simple, but they're very personal. And so how did that make you feel? I mean, this is your story. I don't want to say something that is, something private, because it really is. These are really private sessions that hit the core of who you are.
Well, that's actually a very good description of how it felt. It felt personal and personalized. And I would say that I felt loved and cared for, both by you as an individual, but also by the divine that was coming through you.
Mhm.
That was the sensation I had.
That's great. And I was crying a lot during your session. I just felt I could feel that love, but I could feel the release of what was transpiring, of what you needed to release. And you just can't cry like that. And so when I'm started to see things for you, and then I was feeling them, and then I was feeling you and the words, and then seeing the vision of what was being given, I just was weeping. And those are things that are so profound, but I can't deny. And so you hear me crying, or you might even hear me in pain when I was going through some of your things that were being healed. Did any of those things that were being healed resonate with you?
Yeah, quite a bit of it did. And I felt, I could tell that at different points in the session, you were feeling sensations and some pain yourself. And I started to feel a little bit uncomfortable about that because I don't want to be the source of anybody else's pain. But that was also something that contributed to the feeling of being loved and cared for, because I knew that you were willing to do this in service to me, and that you do this regularly in service to your other clients. And that's a great expression of love.
Thank you. I always tell everybody at the beginning, you might hear me, have to endure some of your pain. But to me, that's a gift that I receive, because when I feel it, I don't deny it. And it just comes out of nowhere. You might hear me go, oh, ow, and when it happens so dramatic like that, or so intense, I just know, yes, that's where they're working. And I'm able to say 100%, this is what's transforming or happening for you, even if it doesn't resonate with you, because it could be something from your past that's being healed. It could be something that's, needs to be healed so that you don't have to experience anything for your future. It's like taking a car in, right? And you're getting a full service. It's just looking at everything.
Right. Yeah, and that's how it felt. It felt like the energy coming through you. I would use the word God, but I know that not everybody's comfortable with that term. Source, whatever term people want to use, that source knew that this was for me as an individual. And so it felt very personalized, I would say.
Yeah, that's exactly how I explain it. And I always use the word term God too, but so many people use source, divine. And to me, and I'm sure to you too, the way we're discussing this is it's a term, but it all means love.
Right. That's exactly how I conceive of God or source. And I think of God as, could say all that is, the ground of all being.
Mhm.
God is in you, God is in me, God is in everyone who will see this or hear this conversation, and God is in everything that exists.
Exactly. And so that white light that comes in to heal and to, reset the brain or reset the body, realign, that is all the divine light. And so what I'm tapping into is a frequency, your frequency, my frequency, God's frequency. It becomes all one. But it's like my light is recognizing your light, and then God's light. And it's all just becoming one. And we're able to go to those spaces that are, to me, they're profound, but they're a little bit sometimes more than we can humanly understand.
Well, I think this kind of healing is to a large extent beyond the understanding of the logical analytic brain, but it's not beyond the understanding of the heart. And if you approach it from that level, on a more intuitive basis, then it feels natural, it feels right, and it feels comprehensible.
Thank you for saying that. And I think the most skeptic, you don't have to be a believer to have a healing, because we're all worthy of the divine love. And that's what it's about. So when people say, well, do I have to, if I don't understand how healings work, or I don't understand, how you write the soul's plan, or any of this that's going on, they don't have to. All they have to do is show up.
Yeah, I think it's just a question of openness. And obviously, anybody who's actually having a session with you is at least somewhat open, or they wouldn't be there. And that's all that's required.
Right. And I've had big skeptics come because it was like they feel this could be their last hope. They've lost all hope. And so even though they're a skeptic, they know there's hope out there. So they're holding on to something that they know deep within, even though they're not aware of it. We all have it. And so, like you say, to a point, they do know.
I think that that's true. You could say, in other words, that they know on a soul level.
Mhm,
Their soul knows, certainly.
exactly. So I remember there was a part that happened in your elbow or something. Did you, a prior injury, did that resonate with you at all? Like I remember my elbow, I think it was my right elbow into my wrist, and it was like a prior injury. Did did that make sense to you?
I have not, as far as I can recall, not had an injury to an elbow. Um, but there's referred pain. That's a term that doctors sometimes use. Something goes wrong in one area of the body, but then the pain is referred to another area of the body through the nervous system. And my interpretation would be that it was something along those lines.
That's great. And I do believe that because I believe there's a root cause, right? There's a root cause somewhere in there. And when one thing's off, it can lead to so many other things.
Right.
Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing your experience and for opening your heart and your mind and your soul to have this session with me. It meant a lot.
Well, and I want to thank you for what you're doing. You're performing a very loving, very important, very valuable, and much needed service to our world at a pivotal time in humanity's evolution. I don't think it's any coincidence that you happen to be here right now. And I want to thank you for your service to all of us.
Oh, thank you. That means the world to me. I'm trying to, spread the word and show people, like having you on and showing people that this is real, that miracles do happen, and that it's a service for everyone. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Blessings. Have a great day.
You too. Take good care.